Welcome. You're watching Rugby with Rifle, a podcast about all things rugby and life, with your host, Danny Pabone and Rifle Scudder.
Welcome to Rugby with Rifle, a podcast about all things rugby and life. As always, I'm joined here with my friend Rifle. Rifle, how are you doing, sir?
Doing good, thank you, Danny. Finally got a little bit of sun and a little bit of heat just melting away the ice shrink that's been
Yes.
here for a solid 2 weeks around our house and everywhere here in Virginia. So glad about that.
Same here, same here. I'm finally seeing patches of grass in my yard, so that's good to see. Hopefully we won't get more snow during this winter.
Yeah.
That's my prayer there. So, welcome everybody. In this episode, we are going to be focusing on that Italy versus Scotland round one of the Six Nations. If you haven't watched our previous episode where we go over week one, or round one, I should say, of the Six Nations, that's our previous episode. Go check that episode out. So in this episode, we just wanted to focus on that particular game, which was game two of round one of the Six Nations, and we'll get right to it, Rifle. And the reason why we wanted to focus on this game is because number one, the weather was just as we mentioned, torrential rainfall. Even commentators were saying that they had trouble seeing the players. That's how much rain was coming down during this match. So, what happens when the field conditions are not so great? You have to adjust as a team because you may have one plan and then the weather changes. Now you have to adjust your plan because I'm sure, I mean, needless to say, Rifle, I mean, this is just the obvious. Uh, Playing in dry weather is obviously different than playing on a wet field. It's a lot more slippery. The ball is more slippery. It's hard to handle the ball when it's raining. So, one thing that at least looking at the game and just from the outside, not knowing what the coaches were telling the players, not knowing, not being inside the locker room or the change room, as you would say, is the proper term for rugby. It just seems that Italy adjusted better to the weather conditions than Scotland did. Just and at the end, the Scottish captain admitted, the Italians just, for whatever reason, adjusted better to the weather and they came out with a close win.
Yeah, I think a big thing there as well was Italy obviously scoring first
Mm,
and going into the change room before the rain in the lead.
mm,
Because now, if you are Scotland, not only do you have to make up the points that you are behind and need to score more points to come into the lead, but now you're fighting against the weather as well. So if you are behind, you're just fighting one thing, you're fighting the scoreboard. But if you are behind and now you're playing in torrential rain, you're not just fighting the scoreboard, you're fighting the weather.
mm,
And all of these little things just add pressure to your game. And we could see it in Scotland. I mean, the pressure, other than literally the last play of the game where there were over 20 phases. That reminded me of 2023 New Zealand playing Ireland in the World Cup. And at the end, Ireland just getting the ball after the ball, also 20, 30 phases, just couldn't get through. And it was the same with Scotland here, to leave it to the very last play of the game. And you're doing well and you're doing everything you can. But they weren't just fighting from coming from behind, but the weather as well. So they did themselves a disservice to allow Italy to take the lead the way they did, and Italy did wonderful. You know, they played good. They scrummed. All their basics were so well performed, and you know, Scotland, it came to nip them in the butt the way they played in the beginning. So that was unfortunate for them.
Yeah, yeah, and you just mentioned the scrum, and let's just get to one of the scrums that was one of the scrums during this game we have here, and if you could just explain to anybody that's new uh, to rugby rifle, I'm just gonna uh, hit play on this scrum here. So we have, and look at that, Scotland just gets pushed back.
Yeah.
Now,
In rugby, like in any other sports or in life, basically, if your basics, the things that everyone has to do, if you're not doing your basic things correctly, you're going to be in trouble. I remember, you know, we live here in Richmond, Virginia, and the Washington Redskins always used to have their training camp here very, very close to us. So even though the field is in DC, Northern Virginia, um, when they practiced or trained, they came here to try and draw more people to become, you know, they're now the Commanders, but the Washington Redskins supporters. And every year we would go to the training, and people were expecting them to do certain things, and youngsters who were playing, you know, they wanted to go see. And you know what those guys did day after day after day? The basics. Something that I'm sure under 9 or under 10 or under 11 football team does. They didn't do any trick plays or anything smart. They just did the basics. And in this game, Scotland did not do the basics well. And just because of that, and we saw that scrum, you know, Italy in blue just pushing Scotland backwards. The problem with that, if you should get the ball, because it's a Scottish ball, so they should get the scrum. They don't get the ball now, but if you do get the ball and your fly half is under pressure because the forwards are going back, it makes it really, really difficult for the fly half to play. And in this whole game, scrum, line out, you know, all of those things, Scotland did not do well. We say in rugby, they got the ball on the back foot, meaning they were put under pressure all the time. And as I said in the beginning, if you have to come back from behind and then play against the weather and you're on the back foot because your basics are not done well, you are in a boatload of trouble. And that we can see there. And I'm very, very sad to say, because Skuman, who plays for Scotland, he went to the same school as I did. We went to the same school. He's obviously way younger than I am. But I mean, he played first team for our school. He was a junior Springbok. He's a British and Irish Lion, for goodness sake. And he got pummeled. I mean, they absolutely destroyed them. And I saw the Scottish team came out today. He's on the bench. He's not even starting. And that's the
wow.
Italian scrum, Azzurri, that did that to them. That's unexpected, you know? So that's well done by the Italians. They've obviously worked hard, but a little bit disappointing from the Scottish team. And just their basics were not on par. And you could see it in the score at the end of the day.
Yeah. And if you're new to rugby, the reason Italy was awarded a penalty was because in a scrum, you're supposed to keep your form. However, Scotland was pushed back, and the Scottish players started to stand up because of all of the force of the Italian scrum. And once you stand up and lose that form, binding form, penalty is awarded to your opponent because you
Yeah.
lost the form of the scrum.
Yeah. You can't break your bind. And because
Mhm.
of just the immense pressure that was put on them, there's only one thing you can do to basically save your life. Don't have your neck, you know, pushed through to the back of the scrum.
Yeah.
And that's just to stand up and say, okay, I can't do this anymore. I can't, you know, and that's what happened
Yes.
there. So the
Yes.
Italians were scrumming, you know, they were in a very, very dominant position there. And that's a
Yeah.
basic part of the game. You got to win your own scrum. You have
Hmm.
to. If you can't win your own scrum, you are in a lot of trouble.
Yeah. Yes. And and this wasn't the only scrum where Scotland was pushed back. There were multiple ones where they just didn't have, for whatever reason, they didn't have the basics down in this game, like you say. So now our next play is we have Finn Russell restarting the game because the the Italians, a restart is pretty much like in American football is the kickoff. You know, somebody scores a touchdown or a penalty or a field goal, I should say. You re-kick the ball to the other team. So that's what a restart is. You're kicking the ball to the team that just scored. It's a restart of the game. So now Finn Russell, and on the broadcast, it doesn't show Finn Russell actually kicking the ball, but this is Finn Russell actually kicking the ball to restart the game. And he commits a mistake, and it's a mistake because, let me just do the play here. He restarts, kicks the ball directly into touch. Now, what happens, the rules is if you're restarting, if you kick to restart the game and it falls directly into touch, then your opponent gets the ball at midfield because that's where a restart happens. It happens at midfield. So if you kick restart, you restart kicking the ball directly into touch, your opponent gets the ball at midfield. And obviously, you're kicking the ball to keep your opponent away from your try line. But now you committed this mistake, and now you have your opponent closer to your try line at midfield.
Yeah. So all the pressure on this stage, even Scotland, they came out from the change room now, second half. They can't afford to make any mistakes. So this is an opportunity for them to get closer to Italy's try line. And then when you kick the ball out on the full, now, as you say, Italy gets the ball. So not only do they gain from where they were going to catch the ball, maybe 20 meters, they go to the middle spot on the field, but it's their scrum. They get the ball to put in. And not only that, they have now got a very, very brilliant attacking position where you're in the midfield. So you can split the defenders up. So they don't know. Are you going to go to the left? Are you going to go to the right of the field? They don't know. So this is a perfect attacking position for Italy now. Italy are in the lead. The weather's not looking good. And you literally give them the ball on an attacking position. And it's just absolutely, you can't do that. That is rugby 101. You cannot kick the ball out on the full from a kickoff. It's just, it should not happen. Unfortunately, mistakes happen and these things do. And that's what I was talking about. There's little things pressure wise. Just come out of the change room, you're behind, weather's looking bad. Those little things squeak in, and before you know, now they kick and you kick it direct out. Now it's there. Now the pressure is even more. So that was a very, very costly mistake for Scotland indeed.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like you say, you're playing from behind. The weather is not that great. So you're putting pressure on top of pressure on top of pressure. So yeah, it's a mindset where, as an athlete, when you have that much pressure, some athletes could overcome it, some can't. So yeah, it's just obviously if Finn Russell could get that kickback, he wouldn't do that, but for whatever reason, don't know if it was weather related. Again, the weather wasn't that great, so probably came off his foot. Not, he didn't kick it the way he wanted to kick the ball because of the weather, and that was the final result of that kick.
Yeah,
And
but it's Finn Russell, I mean, he's
yeah,
on any day, he's their best player, one of the most experienced in the world. Captain, British and Irish line, not just once, more than once. So, I mean, from an experienced player like that, one wouldn't expect it. But as you say, could have come off his foot, could have slipped, whatever the case may be. It's just you must make sure that when you kick off, the ball goes at least 10 meters and you keep it within the playing field. That's what you got to do. That's all you have to do. And he just kicked it directly into touch. So unfortunate for him, just not a good way to restart the game.
Yeah. I was trying to defend you, Russell, but Rifle, the prosecutor, is not having it. Yeah. And, and, and this was, it's, well, it doesn't seem like it was. This was a theme for Scotland, was their set plays. It seemed like none of the set plays went their way in this game. And I say that because we're going to this next play here. Now, this line out here was, well, just to put this line out into context, is I believe this was the start of the second half. And Finn Russell had kicked the ball near the touchline. The Italian player received the ball, and then the Scottish players tackled the Italian player into touch. And please forgive me if I'm not getting the wording correctly. So with the Italian player being tackled into the touchline, the Scotland gets the ball, and they're able to do a line out. Now, this was a very good kick from Russell because that was the strategy and it worked. They wanted to get the ball back deep into Scottish territory, and the kick was perfect. The plan worked as the play happened the way Scotland wanted it to happen. And then this happens. So I'm just gonna do this play right here, line out. And guess who wins the line out? The Italian team. And this happened, I believe, 5 times in this game where Scotland lost their own line out.
Yeah. You can't, all 3 of these videos that we have watched so far are basics. Your set pieces, that's what, if you do not win your own scrum, if you do not kick off properly and you make a mistake on the kickoff and you can't win your own line out, it's almost on this level of playing. You can't win a game if you can't do those 3 things. So very, very un-Scottish like, because they're better than that. You know, they had a bad day. Unfortunate for them. They're a good team, but those 3 things not working for them, that cost them the game for sure.
Yeah. And you I can imagine as a Scottish fan, when Finn Russell made that perfect kick, they make the perfect tackle, they get the ball back, Scottish, okay, here we come. And the next play, they're like, oh, no, not again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very frustrating. And then we get to the final push, and forgive me, everybody. I did not make these plays bigger. I'm sure people could see the plays well when they watch this episode. But what you can't see is, I believe, right at this ruck, this is phase 27, and again, if you're new to rugby, phases are pretty much like in American football, if you're an NFL fan, are plays. In NFL, you need to get a first down. You have 4 downs, technically, to get a first down. Most teams, if they're not close to the first down and 3rd down, they kick the ball away. But let's not get too deep into the weeds. In rugby, you have there's no limit to how many plays you could have before you score a try. It's not like in NFL where you need to get a first down within 4 downs. In rugby, they're called phases. And what phases are is you have the ball, you get tackled. Again, the rules of rugby is you have to put the ball out as soon as you get tackled. You have to pull the ball out to your teammate if your teammate is there. That's phase one. So every time a tackle is made, a ruck is formed, and you pull the ball out, that's one phase. So now we're at phase 27, which means Scotland has gotten tackled 27 times. Another aspect of this final push was this is 5 minutes of extra time. So it's not like, it was 30 seconds left in the game or a couple minutes, I should say, left in the game, and they were doing this final push. This final push was occurring during extra time. So I could imagine, right, for the Italian fans yelling at the referee, blow the whistle already. We need to win this game. So again, this is the final push here. So again, this is phase 27. Now it's phase 28. Another tackle. 29. And this is where so he gets tackled, but he's not able to put the ball back to his team. He held on to the ball because there was 8 Scottish and I'm sorry, Italian and probably 4 Scottish players on top of him. So obviously there's people on top of you. You can't put the ball out to your teammate. He was held up, and that ended the game, and the Italians come out with the win. So
Yes. So many phases right at the end of the game, and we've spoken about it before. If things are in your control, that's good. You don't want something else in the game to have power over you winning or losing. And yeah, they had the ball in their hand, it was theirs, and they went almost 30 phases and still just couldn't break through. So all Italy is doing is just making sure they don't go off sides, because it's so difficult if Scotland is going and you want to go and tackle, you want to go and get the ball, so it's very easy in those circumstances to go off sides. So they had to be very, very disciplined, and all Scotland needs to do is just meter by meter by meter go forward, hoping somewhere someone's going to go off sides, and all they mustn't knock the ball on.
mhm.
And almost 30th phase, you go and you don't go low enough so they can keep you up, so you can't get to the ground to get rid of the ball. It was heart wrenching, but as I say, at the end of the day, the better team on the day definitely won.
Yes, yes. And the thing about that is, like you say, um, if Italy would have committed, if they would have went offsides during that push, then the Italians, being close to the post, could have kicked a penalty kick, and they would have tied the game, and most likely the game would have ended tied, and that would have changed the whole series
You mean
because
Scotland would have kicked?
I'm sorry, Scotland. Forget, yes,
Yes.
Scotland would have kicked, tied the series, tied the game. Game probably would have ended there, and now it'll be a tie. And point system, you get 2 points for a draw. It would have been a draw, and that would change the whole series for Scotland right there. But that didn't happen. Like you say, Italians were disciplined. They did not commit a offsides penalty, and they were able to stop Scotland at the end and come out with a win.
Yeah, this discipline at the end won it for them. That was great. Just to stay on side, do what you got to do, just make sure that Scotland doesn't get to the try line, and they did it. So well done, Azuri.
Yes. So congratulations to the Italians on a hard-fought win and being disciplined. I mean, it's like you said, right? For it all came down to discipline in this game. Unfortunately, Scotland, again with the set plays, did not do well, and that's putting it nicely. They did not do well with the set plays, and uh, that was, I would say, the main reason they lost this game.
Yeah.
So with that, everyone, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Us just touching upon that Italy versus Scotland game in round one of the Six Nations series. Again, Rifle, this weekend is going to be round two of the Six Nations series before they have a week off the following week. And again, that I mentioned this before, that Scotland England game is going to be huge because if, again, I don't believe in superstition or bad luck or whatever, whatever case may be. But if Scotland does bad in that game and loses bad to England in that game, I don't see Gregor Townsend. And if Gregor Townsend ever watches this episode, sorry, Gregor, I don't no bad against you, I have nothing against you, but if your team does not do good against England, I don't see him surviving the Six Nations. I don't know. What do I know? Again,
Only time will tell.
yes, yes, time will tell. So I'm rooting for Scotland to have a good, have a maybe not win, but maybe they lose by 3 points or by just one try, and they have a great game and lose a hard fought game. That's the best you can hope for. Actually, the best you can hope for is they win, or they give England all they got and they lose by a small margin. So we shall see.
Mm.
So once again, thank you, Rifle, for all your knowledge and for being here with me. And I hope everyone enjoyed this episode. And until next time, everyone, take care.
Cheers, everyone.
Thank you for watching this episode of Rugby with Rifle. Remember to press the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet to support this podcast.